Hey guys, Jimmy Vegas here, and I've got a little experiment today. So, I often get asked, how many objects can you have in a scene at any one time before you start to see any significant impact? Well, what we're going to do here is we are going to see how many cubes we can generate before Unity gets unbearable. So, what we're going to do here, because I use OBS, and OBS isn't the best sometimes at recording things, I do have the frames per second down here, and you can see we're comfortably running well above 200 frames a second right now here. So when I click start, it's going to start generating cubes. So it's going to instantiate this cube here, and it's going to randomize them, just let them fall and fall and fall and fall, and we'll see how many we get. I have set it to generate around 100 per second, and we currently have 6 because we have whatever's in the scene right now. So I'm going to start this, and we're just going to see. So they're all going to generate up there. We can change the camera view, and this is actually going to prove quite interesting a little later on. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on. So we already have well over 1,000, and we're comfortably over, well over 120 frames a second. So let's see how far we can go until we hit less than 120 frames per second. So we're currently over 2,000. We're getting there. Nearly, still over 130, 123. Well, there we go. So about 2,500. Let's zoom in further. Now you'll notice the frames per second are going up there. The reason for this is because the camera theoretically doesn't have to look at so many things all at once. So we are at 100 frames a second, but if we zoom right out, we should see that drop quite a lot. Now the reason this happens is because all of these cubes are now being rendered so we can see them. So depending on how many objects you have rendered, that is going to impact what you see. So we've just dropped below 60 frames a second, just over 4,500 objects. Let's zoom right in again, and we should see ourselves going up over 60 again. Yep, so we're comfortably at 60 frames a second, even higher, with nearly 6,000 cubes in our scene. But we are zoomed in, so yeah, 6,000 cubes, and we dropped just below 60 frames a second. Now for those eagle-eyed viewers, you'll be able to see this starting to grind down a little bit, but I don't think Unity is unbearable quite yet. As if you're aiming for 30 frames a second, then that there is probably the point where it becomes unbearable. So for a lot of people, I would say it becomes unbearable at around 6,500 cubes in a scene. And honestly, you are never, ever going to have that many objects in one single scene, all being rendered at the same time. Now I've zoomed right out here, and we can really see this grinding to a halt. We're at 18 frames a second now, with 7,300 almost. 17 frames, and obviously if we zoom in a little bit more, you can see that go up a little bit. But again, that comes back to the fact that this camera can no longer see all the other cubes, and that's a theoretical way of thinking about it. Obviously, the less you can see, the more frame rate you're going to get. Like I say, if we zoom right out, we'll see this frame rate tank. You can see 14, 13. And if we zoom right in again, it'll go up from 12 a little bit, hopefully. It's probably past that point now, actually. Yeah, I think we're past the point. So this is completely unbearable. Now this will carry on, more than likely, until it gets down to about 4 frames a second, and chances are it will hang on 4 frames a second for a couple of thousand more cubes, and then it'll drop to 3, it'll drop to 2. So realistically, based on what we're seeing here, we will get to 1 frame per second when we have around 20 to 25,000 cubes in our scene. As I say, you'll never have anywhere near even 10% of that. So there we go. You can see that is completely unbearable now. It is completely unbearable. So I would say, to answer the question of how many objects you can have in your scene at any one time, if we say completely rendered, I think we can comfortably say 2,000. However, if not, if you don't see everything in the scene, you could probably get maybe 3,000 comfortably without any real significant impact to performance. But like I said, you are never going to have that many objects in a scene. Just never, ever, ever. I mean, the tutorials I make, I don't think any scene we've got even close to 1,000 objects in a single scene, nowhere near. So, yeah, you're never going to have that many. Anyway, we're down to that 4 frames a second, and that's where it'll probably linger for many thousands. But obviously, I'm not going to wait that long, because all you've done is just look at this for however long now. But doesn't that look kind of cool? No, not really. Alright guys, thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more Unity fails, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, take a look at my channel, have a look at tutorials, learn something new, and I'll see you around in another video. Thanks for watching, guys.